And this is not what you think it is. Wait a second, let's focus it. Oh, that's better. So this is not the same wing that I showed you in part one, hence the part two. Anyway, so it was cracked in multiple places. It's cracked here, had damage here, it's cracked here, like all the way through. So I've gone through and repaired all of this. You can still see that crack there, but it's not cracked anymore. It's got, you know, glue and whatnot on it. So it's been since then been repaired, but you can still see the aftermath of what was there. Down here, I went ahead and fiberglass this section. I'm not even going to worry about sanding that down because this is going to be covered. So I just wanted to touch these little spots up, like right here. I don't know if you can tell. Let's see if I can zoom in on that spot. I can't, but right here, believe me, there's a crack. There was a crack that's since then been repaired with the fiberglass resin, and over here it's been repaired with the fiberglass resin. And even this spot I'll have to drill out to get the light to fit in here. That's why I'm not really worried about this, because the light is actually going to cover all of this up. All right, same thing goes over here. There was some damage that since then been repaired. And you might be thinking, all right, so what is this? Why are these two videos, part one and part two? Well, in part one, I gave you the aftermarket version of this whole wing process. And was it worth it? Well, I mean, if you wanted to go through the work to drill everything out, make sure it fits snug, maybe you can get it to work. But here's the real issue with the aftermarket, right? So right here, the aftermarket versions don't have this little clip, these little snap ins at all. And I didn't even notice that during that video, but I noticed it now. Obviously, I'm not worried about this. This is going to be covered as well. Okay, the other thing that the aftermarket ones don't have, that the OEM version, and tells OEM by the stamping on it, and it's much heavier. It's much heavier than the aftermarket by far. Is inside of here, there are little tabs that you click this wing section into. You don't screw it in, you just put it into that little tab that's in there. You might be able to see it, you might not be able to, but believe me, that's there as well. So you put that in there and it just sits in place, which is great. The only downside that I have for this unit is the feet. I cannot get the feet, no matter how much I crank it down, I can't get those feet to sit flat on the surface. And it's not really a big issue for me, because it's still going to function very well and look really good on the car. So this is just a good profile side view for you of it before I get ready to paint. The fruit of all of this in this video is to show you that you can make, if you have a OEM version that's broken, you can piece the aftermarket, say like this wing section here. I recommend you could buy this piece only if you can, and then splice this into your OEM wing if that's something you want to do. The downside to the aftermarket version is the mounting portion of it. The mounting portion of it is way too thin, and the bolts and whatever don't really line up when they test fit it on the car. Like, I couldn't get the one that I bought to fit snugly on the car. I can literally like lift it with my fingers, which is probably going to get ripped off at high speeds. So just disclaimer, you know, and it depends on which company you get. It may vary. There may be some aftermarket wings out here that work really well. Just the one that I happened to get, that I bought, didn't work for me personally. It could work different for you, but I did manage to scrap some of the parts from that and put it onto the new old OEM to repair it. All right, YouTube, so here it is. This is the primer coating of it. I'm gonna bring you in here. All right, this is the closest I can get, and you see it looks all uniform, no tiger striping. I've already crossed hatched this section, and I'm just kind of doing it by parts. Right now I'm working on getting the primer on nice and flat. If you look close here, you can see the cross hatching going, blocking to the left and blocking to the right. You see the cross hatching in this section here. This is where I started. I then went and really did a good job in my mind of painting this section really well. You know, back here, the bottoms on the underside is all done real well. So I'm just waiting on everything to dry, and then I'll cross hatch these sections as well, and then get it ready for paint. So I think I'll do that for part 3 of this, is to do the total paint job. I think I was going to send it to a shop and have it done, but I think I'm going to fire up the old air compressor here and see if I can't knock this out myself and try to get it as mirrored as possible. So stay tuned for a video coming up. I have some updates coming for this whole bit here. If you've been following me on Instagram, you know that I acquired all the components I need to rebuild the input shaft. That's, I think, over here. So all this mess here. I got the required stuff I needed to rebuild this input shaft. I mean, everything, synchros, gears, bearings, I got it all. And now we're going to put all this back together. This should be ready, and then we will start with, or end with, seeing that this thing actually works. And that's where we are on the ST build. And if that works, we will then start sanding this car down and getting it ready for its final color. And I'm gonna try to do a really good job of sanding. I'm gonna take my time with it. I'll probably spend several episodes just sanding, which will be awful for you all, but it's necessary so that I can get a good finish. Because if you look here, when I painted this isn't good. And